Three, two, one, action.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine Duong and I am a part of the graduating class of 2015. My last 4 years at Dozier Libbey have been a long and tedious journey. However, those are the years where I've grown the most. I learned more about who I am and what my strengths and weaknesses are. As you all know, there are several advanced requirements and extra classes that are essential to complete in order to receive the prestigious and highly admired Dozier Libbey seal on your high school diploma. Here is a brief overview of my years at Dozier, displaying the ways in which I grew both physically and academically. The journey doesn't start at the beginning, it begins at the end. I am fully able to relate to this quote because my high school experience is now coming to an end. Even though these 4 years have been the most significant years of my life, my journey still has not yet started. Here I am just a few weeks away from graduation and just a few months away from leaving for college, where the new chapter in my life will finally start. Attending Dozier, it has been clear to me that I am 100% prepared for college, whether it be LMC or Harvard. A big reason as to why I am motivated to do my best in school is because of my family. Being the youngest of 6, it is important that I make both my parents and my siblings proud with my education. My family shaped me into the person that I am today, and they keep my life exciting. I am the second child to attend a 4-year university, and to me that is a large step. I also have a 5-year-old nephew, a 2-year-old niece, and another baby niece coming along the way. My family will only get larger from here, and I am excited to see what is in store for us in the future. My high school experience would not have been the same without the people that are featured on this slide. All of these people have kept high school exhilarating and fun, and I cannot thank them enough for making my high school experience one that I'll definitely miss. I consider them my second family, and they are the only reason why I am sad to be graduating. I will no longer see all of these people every day. However, I know that it is not the last time that I'm going to be seeing them. Even though high school is ending, we are not done creating memories that will forever stay with us. Choosing a college is one of the biggest steps when beginning your future. I wanted a school where I would feel both welcomed and the environment I was used to. And it had an environment that I was used to. When I got accepted to the University of Pacific, I didn't know what to think. But then, when I attended their open house, I quickly fell in love with the school. What I like most is that the teacher-to-student ratio is about 1:20, which allows the teachers to get real close with the students and teaching them one-on-one, making sure that we all understand the criteria that is needed. It was a big step, but on April 27, 2015, I made my final decision and I officially committed to the University of Pacific. Even though UOP is mostly known for their dentistry program, I decided to major in biological sciences instead. I aspire to be an OBGYN, which is short for obstetrics and gynecology. In order to be a licensed OBGYN, you need to complete the classes that are offered through the biological sciences major, such as physiology, anatomy, and biology. I was inspired to become an OBGYN because 2 days a week, I babysit my niece and nephew, and I really enjoyed taking care of them when they were little babies. It may sound odd, but I like the dirty diapers and the endless crying. I'm also very interested in the pregnancy process, and I would love to help future moms get through the process of keeping their baby healthy, whether it be inside the womb or after birth. My thesis. Upon entering Dozier Libbey, I quickly realized that I was offered several different opportunities that not many students are able to receive. Throughout the next next 4 years, I was able to improve my academic performance by expanding my current knowledge of working with technology, strengthening my ability of applying the essential skills of reading, writing, active listening, and speaking in order to effectively communicate my thoughts, and displayed my ambitious skills to show that I am prepared for a fast-paced work environment in order to successfully complete an ideal outcome. One way to show that I improved my technological skills was through the Be the Change project. The purpose of this project was to spread awareness and educate the public about a serious topic that is affecting the world in a negative way. The topic that my group and I chose was vaccinations, and as a group we attempted to spread facts about vaccinations and the importance on why children should get vaccinated. To complete this task, we created several different types of advertisements to spread the word around the Antioch and Brentwood community. We wanted flyers that were both informative and eye-catching, so we created a pixel chart. We used our past knowledge from our IES project and incorporated this into Be the Change. We also learned how to create a website using the software Wix because we wanted something the public could refer to for more information. We created a public service announcement using a software called Powtoons, and we designed a short 2-minute video with more information about vaccinations. Lastly, in order to present all of this information to our medical ethics class, we put together a PechaKucha, which is a timed PowerPoint that has all pictures and no words. There are several attempts of trial and error when inventing a new product before you are left with something that you are completely satisfied with. Through Project Eddie, the purpose of our project was to invent a product that would help a person with a disability while also contributing knowledge that we have learned from physics, government, and medical ethics. After much brainstorming, my group and I decided that we wanted to create a project that would help one-handed people wash their hands with ease, since they are unable. Since it is difficult for them to thoroughly scrub their hand. In order to make the sponges rotate, we educated ourselves about circuits and electricity with the help of Mrs. Nava and several different Home Depot and Radio Shack workers. When we were putting together our product, we kept in mind that we did not want the electrical parts to come in contact with the water. It was difficult, but we decided it was difficult, but we worked around it by placing the wires inside of the pipes. After several attempts, we finally produced a product that we were completely satisfied with. When the switch was turned on, the sponges began to rotate, and a person can then place their hand in between the two sponges. Aside from the product, we also created an informative PowerPoint about disabilities, and we also produced a video that was in the form of a commercial. During my sophomore year in English, we were instructed to create a PowerPoint on the Hiroshima book that we were reading, authored by John Hersey. Now that I'm looking back at the PowerPoint, I noticed that there are way too many words on the slides. The slides look very dull and uninteresting. And compared to the PowerPoints that I make now, I noticed that I have improved dramatically. After making a PechaKucha for Be the Change project, I am now able to create informative, eye-catching PowerPoints that uses lots more pictures and very little words. When relating to being an OBGYN, I will easily adapt to technology that I would have to learn to use because I have worked with technology all throughout my years at Dozier. OBGYNs use an ultrasound machine in order to take ultrasound pictures of the baby when inside the womb. Not only do OBGYNs need to be technically skilled in order to complete their tasks, but they also need the basic writing and listening skills as well. An example of when I displayed my reading, writing, active listening, and speaking skills was through my college essays that we wrote in the beginning of senior year. I knew that these personal statements were very important aspect aside from the actual application. Therefore, I wanted to write an essay that I know would have been the best essay I've ever written. In order to produce an exceptional essay, it involved a great amount of time brainstorming and creating an effective thesis that would grab the reader's attention. It took several weeks for me to complete an essay from the very first time I received the prompt to the very moment that I was beginning to print it out. In relation to the college essays that I created, I also got the opportunity to fill out a distinctive candidate application for the University of Pacific. Only a small number of students received this opportunity, and this special application includes priority scholarship consideration, priority admission decision, and additional chances for writing brief prompts to describe yourself in greater detail. I was more than pleased when I received this opportunity, and I believe that because of this special application, it is the reason why I have been admitted to UOP for fall of 2015. During my junior year in U.S. history, we were assigned the oral history report. The purpose of this report was to listen to the people around our Antioch and Brentwood community and have them talk about their experiences on race and discrimination. This way, we were able to understand their perspective personally rather than reading it in textbooks where they can potentially stretch the truth. I chose to interview my dad, knowing that he's been through tremendous events of his life and would have many stories to share. In order to plan a day to interview, I collaborated with his busy schedule, making sure that we planned a time and a place when he was available. During the interview, I had to actively listen to his answers to the questions that I was asking him. I had to communicate with him in order to keep the interview interesting and continue going, and I also had to utilize writing when I converted my father's answers into an essay form. This project, the oral history project, was one of the most sentimental projects that I have done during my time at Dozier. I learned a lot more about my dad and the troubles that he had gone through. I appreciate how my dad was very open about how him and my mom were escaping Vietnam, and they came here knowing no English at all. He also shared his experience relating to race and discrimination while at work. After producing the college essays and the oral history report, I noticed a dramatic change in the quality of my writing, especially from my freshman and sophomore year. In English class during my sophomore year, we were assigned to write a persuasive essay about a topic that has much debate about around the world today, and the topic that I chose was abortion. I knew that in order to create an intensely persuading argumentative essay, it is important to have a strong thesis. Now looking back, I noticed that all my thesis stated was that abortion should be illegal. Now that I know how to properly create a thesis, I find this thesis very straightforward, containing no claims at all. Now that I know how to create an appropriate thesis, I always include at least 3 claims and make sure that my thesis is the best few sentences that I have throughout my whole essay. Besides utilizing reading, writing, active listening, and speaking at Dozier, we have also learned how to be a productive leader. To become a successful OBGYN, it is important to have several skills that are practiced at Dozier Libby. It is important to be an active listener so that you can listen to the patient and what they have to tell you. You must be a great writer in order to take down notes of what the patient has said so that you can remember them. And then you must also you must also utilize speaking to talk and communicate with the patient and respond to their questions. During the summer of 2014, I got the opportunity to volunteer at an endocrinology and metabolism doctor's office. I attended this office at least 3 times a week throughout the whole summer. I felt very lucky to get the chance to learn about what a doctor's office is like, and I learned several different tasks while being there. I learned how to talk to a patient over the phone to schedule/reschedule appointments. I learned how to prepare a patient's chart prior to their visit to the doctor's office, and I also learned how to speak to a pharmacist over the phone in order to refill a patient's prescription. I obtained 140 and a half hours all in the process. I obtained 140 and a half hours in the process. And I also had to collaborate with the other workers and applied my past knowledge of learning that I have learned in math in order to speak to the pharmacist and refill prescriptions. After I was done with my internship, one of the main workers was so impressed with my work and all that I have done to help out the office that she wanted to find me a paid position in another office. After much research, she wrote a letter to a nephrology office stating that I had all of the required skills that was needed in order to become a helper. Since I was still a student, that would mean I would only be able to work after school, and unfortunately the nephrology office that I wanted to work at was very slow in the afternoons and they didn't need much help. So unfortunately I did not get the job. However, I am still grateful that she attempted to get me a paid position. During my sophomore year in Health 2, we were assigned a project where students were given a professional in a career that we were interested. We sent a list of several questions that would allow us to understand what they do in their career from their perspective. The e-mentor that I got was named Susan Fielding, and she was a specialist in cardiac rehab. She told me that cardiac rehab is a gym for patients to go to that have just been through a tragic heart condition and they are trying to exercise and strengthen their heart. I tried to gain experience through email. After completing this project, I noticed that I have improved dramatically because in my sophomore year, I tried to gain experience through emails. However, now I have gained experience personally by volunteering in an actual doctor's office. Now that I know what it's like to work in an actual office, I am definite that I want to pursue a career in the medical field. I I'm very grateful that I have received personal experience of what it is like to work in a doctor's office that many students may not have the opportunity to obtain. I now know the type of environment a doctor's office has and what goes on. I know how to work with hundreds of patients' charts, and I understand how important it is to keep them all in order, or else they will all be messed up together. This internship has made a positive impact on my future because I aspire to open up my own doctor's office. What am I saying? Because I one day aspire to open up my own OBGYN doctor office, and having this experience puts me one step closer to pursuing my dream. It is important that we utilize all different subjects in order to gain the knowledge that I now have at Dozier. One way we utilized health was through spreading awareness about a health-related project in the Be the Change project. And another way that I've utilized health was through my internship at the endocrinology office, because being in the medical field, you improve the lives of others. You improve the health of others. One way that I utilized science during my years at Dozier was through the EDDI project, because I had to work with circuits, motors, and electricity with the help of my physics teacher. And a way that I utilized math during my journey through Dozier was because I had to refill prescriptions, and I had to request the right amount of medication for each patient. And I also utilized math through Project EDDI because when creating the blueprint for a product, we had to write down all of the measurements for each part of the product. Here we are, just a few weeks away from graduation, and it is finally becoming real to me that I'm about to leave the school that helped me grow into the person that I am today. Dozier has opened several doors to me, giving me several opportunities that I have never taken for granted. This school has taught me the meaning of friendship, and even through our tough world today, I know that there are still those few people that will have my back regardless of what happens. Dozier has taught me an unlimited amount of skills that will only benefit me in the future, whether that be just a few months from now or several years later when I take care of my first baby. So thank you, Dozier Libbey Medical High School, for giving me this opportunity of meeting such a great group of people, and at the same time preparing me for the future that is quickly approaching. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Are there any questions? Oh, look at that! 23 minutes! That's perfect! God, I need to really practice. Like, I suck at this. I have the first, about me parts down, right? It's just, oh, you can stop it now. It's just, oh my God, this is so hard.